I performed twice at the Oscars. I sang the original song that Canada and Ebb wrote for Chicago. It was actually Renee and I did it on the soundtrack, but on the Oscar night, Queen Latifah sang Renee's part. And I was pregnant, but not just like, oh, you can barely notice. I had my child, 10 days after the Oscars. And this was the year I was nominated, actually. And there was a moment of, am I out of my mind? Queen Latifah and I were coming out the same trap door that I came out years later and redid, all that jazz, coming up out of the ground, unsteady on my heels, going, why I'm pregnant? People should be eating chocolate, watching daytime soap operas. Why am I singing for a billion people right now? So that was one. So when I came to do the second, when I did all that jazz, there was a few things. There was something I was so proud, first of all, to have, to be in a movie and to create the movie version of Velma Kelly, and for it to be such a loved and special movie for so many people. For me to put that role on celluloid was like a dream come true. And so that whole experience goes down for me of an unsurmountable experience of working with Rob Marshall, of all my cast, of having the camaraderie of the months that we rehearsed before we shot it, shooting it, seeing it, we loving it, then the world loving it, then it getting it kudos, and then Oscars, and so it was like, it was on a Richter scale, 0 to 1,000,000 for me. And then it gets put to bed, and then so to go back into that world, I think it was 10 years later or something, or 15, I can't remember, but it was an anniversary of it anyway. And do it again and ignite all those emotions and all that wonderfulness, and to do it live at the Oscars, it was of course I was nervous. I'm nervous walking down a red carpet at the Oscars, let alone getting up on stage and doing a number 10 years later when I haven't touched my toes or put in my dancing shoes and had a baby again. So it was reminiscing at the best, and it was a great show that year, and it was in celebration of musicals because Les Mis was nominated that year, and the producers of the Oscars were the producers of Chicago, and so it was like going home, and then going home and being surrounded by what I love to be surrounded by. But, for me as an actor, and especially during this COVID time, and people ask me all the time about award ceremony and what they mean, and it never gets old for me. And that's not just because I was fortunate enough to win an Oscar and a Tony, and and so I'm part of a gang, so it has to be special because I'm part of that gang. Not that. I love the kind of history of it all. I love the fact that we can sit back and applaud our peers and acknowledge the work done that year across the board, makeup, hair, costumes, acting, cinematography. Our industry, it takes a village, and it never gets old for me to tune in my pajamas and watch it with my popcorn and, make my predictions who's going to win. And it never gets old for me to walk down a red carpet and do that wave and remind me, oh my God, I'm part of this community. How did I get so lucky? So yeah. It's something that it's like a milestone, every year. And, I don't do dinner plan. If I'm not at the Oscars, I'm not out for dinner that night. I'm watching. And so that's the way I look at it. And yeah, it's been an amazing year. Well, it's been an unprecedented year this year, but what it's instilled in me is how important our business is, not just on an economic level globally, but on a personal level to so many people. You know, when we were at home and when we were sequestered and confined to our space, I know my family did, and so many other people did, they went into this escapism world that we create, you know, and so they were watching new things. They were going back and watching their favorites. And what took you out of what our industry does is, it reminded me actually this last year that when those lights go down, we can be taken to a different world. We can cry, we can laugh, we can relate, we can be shocked, we can be intrigued, it's a human emotion, you know, the arts and that creativity. And it's not just a flick, you know. I mean, obviously my relationship with the industry is my life, you know, and I'm married to a man who is his life and his father's life. It's a family affair, you know. It's you know, my mother-in-law, Michael's mom, who wasn't as famous as Kirk Douglas, but had a career as an actress. It was her life. And I now look at my children and see that they have that bug.